Taylor Martinez to be inducted into Nebraska Hall of Fame. Chris, what are your thoughts on it?
This guy, I talked about this guy at length when he was playing. And, he's a kid from California. He was a 3-star recruit, came here under Pelini, redshirted his first year. I believe his freshman year, he had an amazing year. I remember a couple games. I watched him play live several times. Hell of an athlete. He was fast as shit. Everybody remembers him for the throwing motion. I don't think you could throw a ball any more uncoordinated looking than he did. But he had a decent career here. I think he was I think as a starter, something like 31-14. He holds a lot of records here at Nebraska. This was also a different era, though. I would never put him in my top. I don't even know if I'd put him in my top. This is going to sound crazy. Top 10 quarterbacks to ever play at Nebraska in the history of my last 38 years of watching. Well, yeah. I was 38 years old, but was Taylor a bad person? Was he a terrible quarterback? No, he wasn't. Unfortunately, he got a lot of hype after that freshman year because he set the world on fire with his legs. Had a horrible sophomore year. Injuries plagued most of his second half of his career here at Nebraska, especially his senior year. To induct him, yeah, he gets in on his stats. And that was by playing full games because Nebraska was good but not great at those times. And I'm not knocking Taylor Martinez. I'm not. I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm harping on one of my own guys, but I'm also I'm probably the most critical fucking Nebraska fan you'll find on the internet, though, about my own team. But long story short, Kristen, I think that it's great. It's great for him. We had Pelini. We did win a lot of games under Pelini. We could never win a big ranked game, though. That was the knock with Nebraska then. That's why Bo, ultimately ended up not being our head coach, and we ended up letting him go. But overall, Taylor Martinez was a good quarterback at Nebraska. The problem was he never got any better, I guess, is how I want to end my segment on that.
Yeah, I want to start off and say, first and foremost, congratulations to Taylor Martinez. I know it's a big deal whenever you get inducted into a college football Hall of Fame. Not, the College Football Hall of Fame, but a college's Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
Chris, you talked about it, and now I'm going to now that I've congratulated him, now I can get on to what I was going to say about this. You know who else played around the same time as Taylor Martinez, Chris?
You talking about for Nebraska, or you talking about, other quarterback out there in the country?
Just in general. I'll go ahead and give it to the fans out there here. Aaron Murray at Georgia played same exact years as Taylor Martinez did.
He was good
at Georgia.
Won a lot of games.
Here's the thing, Chris. Aaron Murray won over 35 games at Georgia. He actually beat Martinez and Nebraska in a bowl game during that time.
I remember that.
He had double the passing yards that Martinez had. Here's the thing, Chris. He isn't in the University of Georgia's Hall of Fame. We don't have a Hall of Fame. We have a Circle of Honor, which I guess it's the same thing. He's not in there. Yeah. And he's probably, honestly, from a statistical standpoint, whatever you want to put it in, he's probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks to walk through the halls of Georgia.
I could play devil's advocate here, but that if I'm not mistaken, that Georgia team had a guy by the name of running back who was pretty good. I think his name was Todd Gurley.
He might have been there once or twice.
Yeah,
he might have made an appearance.
Yeah, I remember him very vividly in that bowl game, running all over our freaking defense. And he was obviously super highly drafted, and we all know about his crazy great NFL career if it wasn't cut short he got older, but knee injury. But yeah. Aaron Murray, though, good comparison, though. Aaron Murray, though, to me was a better quarterback than Taylor Martinez, if you want to just put it out there. Aaron Murray was a damn good quarterback. He could throw the football. He didn't have the legs like Taylor did. Aaron Murray didn't make a lot of mistakes. Unfortunately, Georgia at that time played in probably the two of the best teams every single year with Bama and LSU.
Yeah.
If Nick Saban wasn't at Alabama and Alabama wasn't winning, LSU or Georgia would have won a bunch of those too. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and I do want to say this too, right? I know Taylor Martinez got hurt about 4 games into his senior season, and that kind of cut his career short. So, again, would he have probably had 4 or 5 more wins? Yes, but would he have had, would he have had anywhere near the passing yardage? I don't think so.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, Martinez, not a bad quarterback at all by any means. It's a little different to see, him getting introduced, right? I mean, that would almost be like them. Geez, man, that would almost be like them introducing Adrian Martinez down the road.
Well, Adrian Martinez broke a lot of his records because of the 5 years played. People forget this too, and I'll add this in here, and I'm not knocking Taylor Martinez. The reason why he set a lot of the records that he did was because he played in every single game for 4 years almost. You get that by, nutrition, just playing for a long time. A lot of the great quarterbacks from Nebraska, Eric Crouch, Tommy Frazier, Turner Gill, those guys were already out at halftime and basically played half a season in a full season. You could compile a lot of stats when your team is 8-4 or 7-5 or 9-3 playing full games. So, good. I like the topic though. Like I said, I'm not knocking Taylor Martinez. I would definitely take some of the seasons that he had as far as the win-loss goes. I will tell you that.
I guess, and last thing I'll say on this, and we'll kind of jump into something else. I guess it is kind of tough because you guys, you ran that triple option for so long. So, I mean, it's kind of, I'm not saying it's super easy to break a lot of the passing records at Nebraska, but if you have a guy that comes in and he's very talented and he can play for 4 years, and he's got a good group around him, I don't know, maybe you can kind of set some records there at Nebraska, right?
Yeah. No, you can in the passing game. That's why you saw Trey Palmer last year break the receiving record. And don't get me wrong, Trey Palmer was freaking awesome. But the records at Nebraska, the receiving or passing records here aren't near as high as some of the other most schools because we predominantly never really had to throw the ball. Our rushing records are unreal, but the other side of the coin, essentially.